Okay guys, good morning again. So we here Outdoor Addicts, Shaq from Outdoor Addicts here, and well, we up to our next video again. We're gonna show you guys how to tie the banking rig and how to properly tie the T-nut, and best sinkers and hooks to use to avoid hookup sticking up into the rocks and stuff, and for the maximum efficiency. Right, so here we go. So this setup would be on the battle tree coming off of this road. That would be paired to the ugly stick, the big water ugly stick, 10-foot ugly stick. Watch my little lime tree there with a little lime on it. We home today, dragon fruit plant. Nice green on the mountains around, nowhere near the ocean. So what we could do, could only tie up a couple lines, can't fish. So we could just show you guys how we does do it. So we put this in there, show you again, good angle. Right now for a banking rig is pretty simple. One of the most simplest set of rigging actually is the banking rig, because there's not much fancy ties or anything. Right now here we go with the sinker. For the sinker, what I usually do is now different applications, right? So this would be for on the shore where it hardly have rocks. I would use it like this, just make a double loop on the end, double the line and make a loop, tie them off like that, and then we'll take the teardrop sinker. Now we done tie off a loop here, right? So what we do is take the teardrop now down this end and just pass it through the loop, pass the loop through the eye of the sinker, just like this. Now this is 2 ounce, I don't have a 3. Okay, so we was looking for the 3 ounce sinker mainly because I wanted to show you guys I use the 3 ounce on the bigger rods, because I use braid on this particular rod I'm setting up, which is the battle tree, and the braid needs a heavier sinker to hold it down. Well, idea on what the setup look like or should look like. Right, here we go. That's it there, right? Now the reason why I'd say according to where you're using it, this would be the most effective method. Now when you're on the beach and stuff, this is really effective in case you want to change out sinkers, you want to change weights and stuff. This is the effective method to tie it, where you just slip it back out and you put on the next one, right? But the reason why I wouldn't use this too much on the rocks and I would actually tie it straight down to the sinker is on the rocks, this hitting on the edges of the rocks all the time, right? These lines, because the sinker tied directly to them, they usually snap pretty easy on the rocks after a while. So it just makes more sense to tie it right down. I notice it wouldn't burst off as much, but yeah, this is as banking we're talking, so this is the easiest way, right? Just a simple loop, slip the sinker on. Now we're coming up here to where the hook should be, right? So we have the sinker, and what I usually do is anywhere between 18 to 24 inches I would take to start with the first loop. Now again, pretty straightforward, just make a loop. Now I see some guys that make it hanging really long, 6-7 inches and stuff. That is all personal preference. I usually keep it within 4 to 5 inches, a little longer, just sometimes 6, but not too long, because you see you want it to look natural in the water, right? When it hanging too much, it still does end up defeating the purpose of the T-nut. So here we go with the first part of the nut, right? Just simple like the bottom. You make a loop, wrap it a couple times. I wrap it 3 times, and then you come here now and you just 2 ends, you just bring them cross like this, right? Now most people use jigs and so people make up stuff to do it, right? And if you're catching, if you find it's a little bit too hard, usually what I would do is hook it onto the handle. Hold on, I'm gonna get the focus back in. Right? Now we're wrapping these a couple times. And then you retrieve the loop end now. Well, usually I would have the handle tightened, right? But now you notice I keeping the piece that I wrap open. So you pull the loop through it now, and you're making sure that you get the knot down here. This knot needs to pass through. Alright? And this is what we're looking for here now. Take your time on your pull. Hold on, let me get the focus in. You take your time and you cinch it in. Now, a lot of people add spit or wet the lines. It's actually the best thing to do. So the knot will cinch in properly and not get too hot. And this is the finish you're looking for here. Perfect T-knot. Now watch how your line would look. Now this would straighten out from time you put a hook onto it, okay? But if you notice, the line stays off. The loop with the hook stays off of the main line. Let me get a hook now to pawn. So again, here we go. We'll show a couple different. Alright, just give me a second. I'll gather in a hook, couple hooks to show. Okay, so here we are now. So generally my go-to hooks are circle hooks, right? Because you know, less stick up and self-hooking, easy for catch and release. Plenty times you catch fish that you don't want to keep. You know, the circle hook makes things easier. I always like to use a little bead according to where I'm fishing. Well, when I'm rock fishing, I use orange beads, but I forgot my pack of orange beads on the rocks, and I haven't bought tackle in a while, so yeah. And simple action again. But what most people do is they thread the hook through the back, and when you do it now, what it does is make the hook stay inside. So the best way to thread your hook is by through the front. When you pass the line through the front of the eye, okay, let me just use it with a bigger hook just for video purposes, right? When you pass it like this, just right. Even though the hook looks like it's going to stay onto the main line, by the time you make your loop over the hook, so you pass and you pull the hook over, okay, so this is the action here. Now I actually caused that twirling there by pulling the hook a bit too fast. I was to take my time a little bit with it, so it wouldn't cinch the line like that. But generally this is the action here. And if you notice now how the hook is staying outwards, right, this is what makes for a very effective banking rake. Hook, the way you pass the line through the hook is very important, right? Now, well, I won't take it back off, but I'll just show you guys again, because I know most people, especially when you're going on the surf to fish, they would like to run 2 and 3 lines, 2 and 3 hooks onto it. So let's go again, but different hook this time, and I'll explain why. It's all about application, location, and purpose. Okay, everything has a purpose. So we're back here again. Then make the loop there, and you come now and you're taking your time and just pass them. Now I don't really fight up with the loop, because as long as you don't pass them into these two, you're pretty good to go. And then here we go now. Bring them up through. And that's it there. Very simple. Now I tied this one short again to show for certain, this is application now. Certain locations you would go and pretty shallow, or you might be fishing in the surf, so you tie it really short. You don't want it too long to be hanging and touching to the next one, or touching up on the line with the surf and the pull and whatnot. Now when we're on the surf, I would usually use a number 6 Alave hook, brass hook, right? The reason why I would use it, because they're really sharp, and on the beach you don't want much big bait. Big baits don't really get much bite on the beach, because it is a slower thing. The types of fish on the beach is pretty different, right? Now here we go again, same mistake I made. I pass it through the front, back, because it's easier, but right. So here we go, you pass the line through the front of the hook, same way, and you make a loop pretty easy. Let's loop it over, pull, right, and here we go. I have hooked some really big tarpon, snappers, a lot of big fish, even sharks on the surf with this little hook. It's just about the fight now. You need to remember, when you're using certain types of hook, you're using a really small hook, you can't apply all your drag, especially knowing you're running reels that have 30-40 pound drag and them kind of stuff, right? So yeah, let me see if I pull this up to get a good view. Right, bottom hook there, sinker. Now it's pretty simple, sinker, first hook, and actually this is how I would run it. Just a big hook on the bottom, and then you come back down again, and up to the top a small hook. Very effective banking rake. Yeah, well, yeah guys, that's it there for the banking. Now the only thing to do is to show you guys the proper way to tie the FG knot, the joint leader,